Let's use the quadratic formula today. So let's consider our discriminant. Now be very careful about the discriminant. The discriminant is underneath the square root sign. So for instance, let's look at this first one. If the value of the discriminant is greater than 0, so for instance, -5 plus or minus the square root of 25 over 5. See how the discriminant is greater than 0? If I were to ask you what the discriminant is here, you would tell me 25, not the square root of 25. 25 would be the discriminant. So since 25 is greater than 0 and it's a perfect square, we would get 2 real roots, correct?
Yeah.
-5 plus 5 over 5 and -5 minus 5 over 5. If it's greater than 0 and not a perfect square, you still get 2 roots, right? But they're irrational roots. Okay? So you'd have to put it in a calculator and figure it out. If you get 0, then you get, for instance, -5 plus or minus the square root of 0, then there's nothing to add or subtract. You don't need to add 0 or subtract 0. So you just get 1 real root. And if it's negative underneath, if this discriminant is negative, then you get imaginary numbers, right? Those are called complex roots. All righty. So any questions on that? So that's what we're going to use today. So my first step, if I need to find I'm going to need to find the value of the discriminant, describe the number and type of roots, and find the exact solutions by using the quadratic formula. So my first step is to solve for 0. This needs to be in standard form before we can use it, correct? So if this is A is 1, B would be 6, and C would be -16. And by the way, while we're talking about this, what would -16 represent? Where the y-intercept is. So if this is -16, I know that my graph is going to cross right there, just from seeing that C. Okay, so let's use the quadratic formula, which is x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, which you have right here for your reference. So my b values are 6 and 6. My a value is 1 and 1. Why am I hearing a little whispering? And my c value is -16. So I have -6, x equals -6, plus or minus 6 squared is 36. -14 times -16 is +64. So what's 64 and 16? 64 and 36. 64 and 36. Right? 36, -4 times -16 is +64. So my discriminant is 100. Since it's positive and it's a square, I have 2 real roots. Well, not 10. Over 2. So let's evaluate this. -6 plus 10 over 2, and x is equal to -6 minus 10 over 2. -6 plus 10 is 4. 4 over 2 is 2, and -8. So my roots are 2, 0, and -8, 0. 2, 0 would be here. -8, 0 would be somewhere over here. You don't have to graph it, but I'm just showing you what this would look like. No, you don't have to graph on your homework. I just want you to work with the quadratic formula. Any questions on this one? Go ahead and copy that down. Okay, so let's do this one. Why don't you guys try this one on your own? I'm going to go ahead and start it. So I have x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Yes, you may. All right, so my a is 1. My b is negative 16. Yep, it didn't change color. And my c is 64. Negative 16. First of all, what's my discriminant going to be? What's 16 squared? 256. 16 plus or minus. Okay, ready for this? You ready to be, okay, so what is 4 times 64? We'll check this out.
256.
Did you do it in your head?
No, I did it on my calculator.
Look at this. Isn't 64 8 times 8?
Yeah.
And isn't 4 2 times 2? So isn't this 16 times 16 as well, which is 256?
Oh, see
what I did there?
Does that mean it's just one spot?
Yes. 256 all over 2. Exactly. That cancels, so my discriminant is 0. So how many roots do I have? 1 root. Which is 16 over 2, which is 8. Right? No.
No, because you only have 1 root.
Because plus 0 and minus 0 is just... Okay, so we found our exact solution. So what would that look like? No. It would cross at 8. Just like that.
All over 2A.
And look at, guys. It would cross my y-axis at 64, so something way up here. What would my other point be? The other way, how much over? If this is over 8, how much farther would I have to go? So it would be 1664 would be the other point, right? You guys getting it? Yes. This is 0. 16 plus 0 and 16 minus 0 is the same thing. All right, you guys ready to move on? Okay, do this one. So look, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and start. X equals negative b. I shouldn't hear all the talking. C squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It makes you want to sing it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I will teach you the song. All right, so my a is 3. And my b is positive 5. And my c is positive 1. So my discriminant is 25 minus 12. What's 25 minus 12? 13, not square root of 13, 13. Therefore, I am going to have 2 real roots, but they're going to be what? Irrational roots. Right? It's going to be 2 irrational roots. So I've got x equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 13 over 6. So x equals, start getting the calculator out for me, plus square root of 13 over 6. And x equals negative 5 minus the square root of 13 over 6. Let me have it for me? 3.6? So x equals negative 5 plus 3.6 over 6, and x equals negative 5 minus 3.6 over 6. Good. This is negative 1.4 over 6, and x equals negative 8.6 over 6. Put those in your calculator for me. Why? Because 25 minus 12 is 13. You see it? What is it? No. No. This is why it says right here, find the exact solution.
All right, maybe.
What's negative 1.4 divided by 6? Who's got it? Negative 0.23. And the other one?
Negative 1.43.
Gotta work. Questions? Well, it can go to the hundredths place. That's usually pretty safe. Okay? I mean, if you were going to graph it, you wouldn't graph to the hundredths place. You'd graph to the tenths place, right? Okay. Last one. Want to do it together? Let's get it over with. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. A is 1. B is negative 6. And C is 10. Oops, it didn't change. So I have positive 6 plus or minus the square root. 36 minus 40 is negative 4. How many roots do I have? None.
Why?
Because this is imaginary.
Oh.
Because it's a negative 4, right? I got my x's. You need x's. You're not just doing something out in the middle of nowhere, right? X equals. So x equals 6 plus, what is negative 4, the square root? It's 2i, good, over 2. X equals 6 minus 2i over 2. I can further simplify that, right? Can't I take a 2 from everybody? Take a 2 from everybody, I've got a 3 left over. Take a 2 from everybody, I have a 3 left over. So x equals 3 plus I, and x equals 3 minus I. And that's my answer right there. That's it's as broken down as you can possibly get it. Good? Can I go? All right, guys, what did you learn today?
I learned how to use numbers in quadratic formula.
And specifically, we talked about the discriminant, right? What does, guys, I'm recording. What does the discriminant tell us?
How many roots?
How many roots, exactly. The person next to you is absent. How would you explain when you should use the quadratic formula? When you can't factor. Good, Cassandra. On your assignment sheet, please write this down. This is your closing thought. If the discriminant is greater than 0, I know. If the discriminant is less than 0, and if the discriminant is 0. Good job, guys.